Do you
Oh,
get that reference
really?
ever? Are people like, oh man, do you know Caitlin Clark?
Yeah, yeah. People ask me all the time. What she's come up in some interviews that I've done, like just in the locker room. People have asked me about her. Um, and so a bunch like all my teammates asked me if I like knew her or whatever, just
Yeah.
because they've heard about her and what she's been able to do, obviously. So
Yeah. Did you know her that well? I didn't know if your paths really ever crossed at Iowa.
I didn't know her that well, but we've talked occasionally. Yeah, yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
She
Cool.
she's a cool person.
You're probably the one of the first players in history who's had, a WNBA player be like the one that people recognize your school for.
Yeah, I know, I know, I know.
That's wild. Well,
Crazy.
gosh, man, tell me about what you're feeling right now. I mean, just a year ago you were playing for the Hawkeyes, and now you're getting ready for a Super Bowl. What's this last year been like? Boy, it just must be a roller coaster for you.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Finishing obviously not finishing the way, I wanted to finish, last season with the Hawkeyes, playing for Coach Ferentz. Tough decision to come out or to stay. Ultimately chose to leave and pursue the NFL. And it was a tough decision. I was pretty emotional, throughout that process, trying to figure out what I should do. Just because I love Iowa so much, and it's given me a lot. Um, but then I ultimately made the decision, and obviously I didn't. I thought I was going to go earlier than I did in the draft. Um, you know, I went, in the second round. It was a blessing in disguise, getting to come here and, play for such a great organization. It still feels like a college locker room still. Out here, just a bunch of great guys in our locker room, great coaches, and having another injury, there in camp or prior to camp, with the hamstring injury, it set me back a little bit, and then um, ultimately working my way back and getting the chance to start my first game in week 6, and then just kind of been rolling ever since. Learning each week, but it's wild just to think. I think it was 3.5 years ago I was a senior in high school, and now I'm playing on the biggest stage in football. So it's crazy to think about.
I
It's crazy
mean,
to think
I,
about.
I know that every high school senior, especially ones that want to go to play college ball, would say that. They're like, oh yeah, I want to play college. I want to go play in the Super Bowl one day. But it's like, realistically, not many are going to do that, especially 3 years later.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you were a senior in high school, could you have envisioned this, or would you have actually realistically thought, I'm going to be playing in a Super Bowl in a few years?
I mean, I didn't even know if I could play football at the University of Iowa, to be honest. I didn't know how I'd fit in there, first of all. So that was, but at the end of the day, it was just putting the work in. Just what I've always done my whole life, trying to put the work in to become the best player that I can be, and impact any team that I'm on in some way. And I found my way on the field early at Iowa, um, making an impact on special teams, and then ultimately earned a starting spot on the defense. Um, and it was kind of the same story when I got here. Started out on special teams earlier in the year, and then kind of just got more comfortable and worked my way into the starting role. Um, so it's really just about keeping your head down and putting in the work. I think that's what my parents have taught me my whole life, and that's kind of what I've lived by.
You talk about that when you came to Iowa. Wasn't sure if you could play there. I mean, you can be honest with me. Did you have that same thought going to the Eagles then? I mean, did you think like, hey, I've got a chance to start for this team in my first season, or did you think, boy, I've got a lot of growth to do? Did you know that you'd have a chance to be a starter year one?
I did not, to be honest. You know, I I knew I had a lot to work on, especially when I got here and going up against the guys that I was going up against. Um, when I first got here, I quickly realized that I had a lot to learn and a lot to figure out, about the NFL game. But luckily, we have coaches who've been around the NFL game for a while now and have taught me, so much about the ins and outs of whatever it is on the field, whether it's route concepts, defense, situationally, all those types of things. So I've grown a lot as a player. And I think being able to make the transition the way I have and be able to learn and pick up a defense the way I have, it goes back to my time at Iowa and and what Coach Parker does and the way Coach Ferentz runs our program. I think has helped me make that transition um, a little bit easier. I would say it's still been a tough transition, but it's definitely made it a little easier, coming from the University of Iowa.
Where do you see your most growth over the last 6 months or whatever? Where do you see your biggest level of personal improvement in your own game?
I think really just understanding, situational, football better and seeing that, throughout the game. Um, because Coach Sirianni out here, that's all we talk about really. Not all we talk about, but we talk about it a lot of the time is, situational football. What are teams going to do in certain situations? We go through it every day in practice, different situation he throws at us. He throws at us throughout practice. So just understanding that and understanding, receivers that I'm going up against, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. Reading the stems of the receivers based off certain, where they might break off or what routes they might run, understanding, pre-snap looks that they give us because, in the NFL, I mean, it's a copycat league in a lot of ways, and a lot of teams do similar things. They'll just dress it up, different ways. They'll use motions, shifts, whatever it may be, but they'll still put different guys in certain spots just to but they'll still run, a lot of the same concepts.
You're still getting a chance to return punts and you're playing
Yeah.
defense. Do you have one that you're enjoying more than the other, one that you favor more than the other, or you're like, boy, I really love doing this?
I'm loving playing defense right now. I do love touching the ball, but I'm loving, playing defense. Just working with the guys on our defense. I've quickly learned it's a lot tougher to punt return in the NFL than it is college football. Don't get me wrong. I still love it. I love to touch the ball. Always, always will any chance as a defensive player to touch the ball. That's always fun. But on special teams in the NFL, dudes are getting paid to play those positions. In college it might be backups or guys starting on defense um, that are tired running down the field, whatever it may be. But these guys literally, are getting paid to play, those positions on special teams. Um, but on the defensive side, I'm just loving. It took us a few weeks, to get the hang of it. It's a new defensive system for everybody here. But I just love the way we work together and the way everybody flies to the ball and tries to create turnovers every time we're on the field.
Do you envision yourself still doing both into the future?
I hope so. I
Yeah,
hope I can. I don't know. Obviously, it's up to the coaches. I don't know if that's as big of a thing, in the NFL, like a defensive guy who's starting on defense, still returning punts. It's not really that big of a deal in college. Um, but I feel like you don't see that a whole lot in the NFL, but I'd love to continue to do that, be able to run around with the ball a little bit.
yeah. Speaking of which, I asked you if people ask you about Caitlin. Have your teammates ask you about the fair catch?
No, they haven't.
Oh, really?
Um, no, they haven't, which is I don't know if a lot of them know about it, but um, I know some of my coaches do. Yeah, my coaches have asked me about it. It's come up in conversation sometimes though.
Does that still cross your mind when you're returning punts? Like, do you still think about the angle that your arm is gonna be at?
Uh, yeah, I mean, not as much anymore, really. Because I mean, yeah, I don't. It doesn't really cross my mind. I don't think. Yeah,
Mm,
I kind of just go out there and try to do my thing with a
sure.
clear mind. But in the NFL, I'm pretty sure if you're waving your hands back and forth, you can still return the ball,
Mm,
if
hmm.
I'm not mistaken. But in
Yeah.
college, they blow it dead.
Yeah.
If you like cross your arms like that. So it's a little bit different. So it's kind of gotten out of my mind a little bit.
Yeah, not as much to worry about. That's good. Um, does watching the Hawkeyes this year, I mean, I know that you were watching them probably pretty closely every game. Were there ever any moments where, like, as well as the Eagles were doing this year, as well as you were doing this year, where you were still like, man, it'd be fun to be back in that locker room, or boy, I wish I was back with my boys in Iowa City.
Yeah. Definitely when I was making the transition out here, and I was still trying to find my way around the locker room out here, and um, meeting all my new teammates, while I'm watching those guys, play, and they're having fun, with one another, and they've been doing it together for however many years. A lot of those 4 or 5, some 6 years, there. So definitely at first, you kind of it kind of brings you back to those times when you're in the locker room with those guys. But once the season got rolling, I was happy, with being out here, and I started to come out of my shell a little bit out here, and hang out with the guys, and stuff, become close to some of the guys. So um, at first, the transition was tough. But it's gotten easier as seasons went on.
Yeah. Something I was told once, tell me if you agree with this or not, but somebody said, like, the jump from high school football to college football is like, going from here to here. And then from college football to the NFL is like going from here, up to here, basically. Would you agree with that assessment? Is that about kind of how you've experienced it too, from OUBCIG to Iowa versus Iowa to the NFL? Has it been like that big of a leap?
I'd say just about, yeah. Yeah, just because, in the NFL it's a business, and all these guys can play ball, and um everybody gets paid to do, what they do their position out on the football field. So, you got obviously you got your wide receiver ones, your wide receiver twos, but those backups in there, like those guys can really play. Like those would be easily easily number one receivers at colleges. In college you get your one, maybe two receivers that can really go. But in the NFL they can all play. And you have to be ready, every single snap. You're on the field, and you're literally playing against grown men. And dudes who have dudes who have children and wives, and I think Slay in our room. I'm 21 years old, and he's 34. So that's a lot different than what it is in college. In college you only have that 4 or 5 year age gap, but there's dudes that are some 13, 14 years older than you in the NFL, grown men. So yeah, it's definitely a big leap going from college to NFL. But I'd say once you learn and figure out your routine, and get everything down, learn how to take care of your body, and study, you know that 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 transition just becomes easier and easier um, as your first season goes on.
Yeah. I read recently about how I don't think you've given up a touchdown in your time here in Philadelphia yet, and I don't think you gave up a touchdown in your last season in Iowa City either. Do you remember the last touchdown that was scored on you?
Uh, I think it was Ohio State my sophomore year. They hit a
Okay.
big boost on me. I think.
I don't know the answer, but
Oh,
I
I
wondered
thought
if
you
you
knew the
knew the
answer. I think it was that play though.
Yeah, Ohio State one.
Yeah,
Who was it? You have any idea?
I am not sure, to be honest.
Really? I didn't know if that was somebody who was playing the NFL or was a teammate or anything.
No, no, it's not. I
Yeah.
don't think. Um, I think it was Julian Fleming. I think he actually transferred from Ohio State and Penn State, I believe.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's in the NFL.
Was was that the only one you gave up as a Hawkeye?
Uh, I think there was one against Michigan that I gave up when we played them at home.
Okay.
Possibly it was on like a scramble drill. Those are the only two that I remember.
Did you ever give up one in high school?
That I don't know.
I know folks weren't throwing your way very much in high school,
Yeah.
so I can't imagine.
High school I like kind of just roamed the middle of the field, so it wasn't really like I was playing man to
Yeah,
man
yeah,
everybody.
lining up his nose tackle, just
Yeah.
wherever they needed you.
I was kind of a little bit all over the place in high school, but
Yeah. Have
yeah.
you? Been seeing you videos around in Philadelphia. You know, I saw you on a riding on a Zamboni. I saw you at a Sixers game. Saw LeBron James snub you for getting tapped up.
Cool stuff, yeah.
What's like been maybe the wildest experience you've had so far in Philly?
Um, I'd say probably being courtside at the Sixers game when LeBron James was standing right in front of me. That was pretty crazy. Um, that was pretty crazy. I got to sit down on the court and watch those guys play, which was pretty cool. Having been a basketball guy, growing up my whole life playing basketball and football, and just being able to sit down there and watch those guys in the NBA just go at it, make it look easy. So that was pretty cool. Um, got to sit on the glass at a hockey game. Never done that before, which was awesome. Probably one of my one of the best experiences, at a sporting event. Just watching those dudes just smack each other into the boards. It's like football on ice almost, uh, with a stick and a puck. Um, but yeah, I'd say those two, and just seeing how crazy the fans get are for Philadelphia Eagles football.
Hmm.
Like I don't know if you saw any videos, but Broad Street, which is like the main street in that runs through the city, is it was just packed on Sunday night after the football game. Like people were climbing up light poles, climbing up buildings. It was like you couldn't even move on Broad Street on Sunday night, which was just insane to see. So
Yeah.
just seeing how passionate the fans are and getting to experience the other sports teams as well has been cool.
Did you introduce yourself to LeBron? Because I have to imagine you grew up a LeBron fan, just knowing your
Oh
age,
yeah.
you've been a fan. So like, did you try to at least like, hey, Mr. James, I'm Cooper.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I was kind of just the video looks bad. See, the video looks bad. I thought I was just going to grab my phone out. Um, and then when he walks away, I kind of put my head down, which obviously looks like I was kind of disappointed, but I don't know if I was really that disappointed that he didn't come shake my hand because I wouldn't expect him to know who I am.
Yeah.
Um, no, but I didn't try to introduce myself, but he was literally shooting three pointers like probably like 6 feet away from me,
Mhm.
which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just to see in person.
Have you done anything extravagant with any of your early paychecks?
Uh, I have not done anything crazy now.
Yeah.
No, no, nothing too crazy. I've
Okay.
just got some gifts for parents and my brothers, and I've done some stuff just to give back to them a little bit, but nothing too crazy now.
Yeah. You know, I went back just before we talked to check your Twitter timeline, and I went back to April 26th of last year, you know, draft night, night one of draft night. And the post I think you made was the man above has a plan, grateful to see another day. I
He
mean,
does.
I yes, he does. I think that you and along with a lot of Hawkeye fans and OABCIG fans were pretty disappointed with the way that night played out, not going in the first round. But I really have to keep thinking that you got to look back on that night like, boy, maybe the best blessing in disguise to end up on a Super Bowl team in year one.
It is, looking back, where we're at now, where I'm at, and getting to play for a Super Bowl and not having, obviously draft night, the first draft night didn't go the way I wanted it to. Um, but it really was a blessing in disguise, getting to getting to come in here with with another rookie defensive back in Q and watching him play those first few weeks, I think really helped my confidence, helped me, get ready for when my time came to jump in there. Um, but just getting the opportunity to come here, I had, I went on a top 30 visit here pre-draft, and it was one of the best visits I had, just sitting down with the coaches and people in the front office and, getting to, they were talking to me about their defensive scheme, which was, pretty similar to what we did at Iowa. So, I was thinking to myself, like, I'd love to be here and play here. Obviously, it's out of my control. Um, but then just the way it worked out, it was awesome. That second day, that first night I was disappointed. That second day, I was really happy, when they traded up and I got that phone call. Um, and the way I look at it now, is, I'm just grateful for the opportunity that I have and that I still get the opportunity to continue to play football, and play in the NFL. Something I've dreamed of as a kid, growing up. So it was truly was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, and I really feel like, I mean, I've really marveled, not been surprised, but I've been marveling just at how much this city has embraced you. I, I don't know if you saw me post about this, but back in November, my family and I went on a cruise. We were in the Bahamas, and on the cruise ship, I saw a guy with a Cooper Dejean Eagles jersey on, and I was like, "My gosh, dude! Like, I've known that kid since he was like a sophomore in high school." And then like we were in Nashville for the bowl game, and these folks from Pennsylvania walked by. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're Eagles fans." We're like, Cooper. Oh man, we love Cooper. We love Cooper DeJean. Like, what's it mean to you just to be so widely embraced by that fan base? A fan base that certainly has a lot of critics.
Yeah.
They're famous, but to
Yeah.
be embraced by them again, just as a rookie.
Yeah, it's amazing. Especially being a first year guy, just being embraced by the people out here, um, and people coming up and saying just saying what's up to me and taking pictures with everybody. It's awesome. Seeing people wear my jersey in the stands, is really cool. It's amazing. The people out here, they're really passionate. And I learned that pretty quick. With the way our season started. Obviously, a lot of people wanted us to start out faster and better than we did. But they've stuck with us. They've been at every game, home and away, and they're really passionate and want to see us succeed. So it's I'm grateful to be, playing in a city like this who's really passionate, going from Iowa City where, people are, almost equally as passionate, there about their football team and coming here where they're just crazy about Eagle football out here. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. This game you're actually going to play in a few days. I guess a week and a half by at this point. But just tell me about how you attack this game because you're going up against a team and a player who's like, boy, is this the best quarterback in NFL history? Is this one of the best teams in NFL history? A chance for a three-peat, which has never been done. Like, just walk me through some of your initial thoughts. You don't have to give me like conceptual stuff about like what you're actually going to do, but just how you as a team kind of approach this, knowing that you're going up against a team that's one of the best ever.
Yeah, I think these guys were here, 2 years ago against this team. The quarterback, obviously, he's not many guys come around like him. He's a special player and makes a lot of plays with his legs and with his arm. And he's a winner. He seems to have a great connection with his receivers. They always seem to know where to be and be in the right spot at the right time. But it's going to be a challenge for us, and we understand that anytime you make it this far in the season and you're playing in the Super Bowl, it's not going to be easy. It's always going to be a challenge. Those guys get paid a lot of money to play the game too. So it's just trying to contain him and keep him in the pocket. And sticking on our guys down the field because he can make some plays with his legs and when he escapes the pocket, we got to make sure we find our guys to try and take away the big play. When he's scrambling around and his guys are trying to get open for him.
Does he remind you a little bit of watching Cooper Dejean play quarterback for OABCIG? Little similar vibes?
A little bit, a little bit. I wasn't going up against quite the guys that he's going up against. But yeah, yeah. I just
Something
the way he
similar.
runs around and throws the ball down the field. Yeah, reminds me of me back when I was playing small town ball in Ida Grove, Iowa. Yeah.
Yeah, just when you were talking about making plays with your legs and arms, I'm like, yeah, I watched you do a few of those back in the
Yeah.
day. You know?
Yeah.
Do going back to just your connection with this city, what is it? Because I mean, you've been, such a favorite. People loved you in Iowa City. People love you in Philly. Can you put a finger on like what it is about yourself, if you don't mind, shunning your humility for a second? Just like why is it that you're so well embraced everywhere you go as a football player?
Uh that's I don't I mean, I guess I try to play the game the right way. I try to fly around and give it my all whenever I'm on the football field. So that might be part of the reason. I love connecting with the fans whenever I'm out and about doing whatever it is. Just taking pictures, signing whatever, doing things like that. Being involved in the community, obviously, is something that I love to do. I love to do it when I was at Iowa and now here. Just doing whatever it is, whether it's visiting the children's hospital out here. I got to do that this a few days ago. Just like back at Iowa, when being there and when we visited, or every time doing the wave, it's it kind of brings me back to those times. Doing whatever, meeting people in the community, like I said. Um, just being open, I guess. Really to talking to people and meeting people. I think plays a big part in it.
Is that a big piece of advice you would pass on to like younger players too, like in terms of how they can approach either the game or just life in general?
Yeah, um, I think even especially when you get to this platform, I think just being open and willing to greet people, shake people's hands, um, and just really people just see you as a regular person. I think is an awesome thing. I know I love meeting the fans and people wearing my jersey, signing things for them, and just being approachable. Really, I think walk around with a smile on your face and um, just treat everybody the same. Really.
Yeah, yeah. Have you thought much about what that's going to be like stepping onto that field as a starter, your first play in the Super Bowl? Just because, as much as I know, like all the coach speak about treating it just like any other game, that kind of thing, it's hard to deny that this is like one of the biggest events in the world every year, that every single person watches like across the globe. So like, is that going to be hard to keep that mentality knowing that you're going into such a big spectacle?
Yeah, I'd say it's gonna be definitely gonna be a challenge. Just to try and treat it like another game. I haven't really tried to think about what it'll be like. Just stepping on that field for the first time. Um, I'm trying to save all my emotions and energy for when that time comes. But it's I mean, it really does come down to preparing yourself for that moment and understanding what's all going to be going on and trying to keep yourself focused on the game. Um, but you do have to look around and take it in. Um, at some point, um, just to because this some guys go their whole career and don't make it to this game. So you have to take it all in early, and then at some point you gotta focus on the game and focus on the task at hand. Not let the moment get too big, and try and it starts during the week, just trying to prepare. The way you have all season, that can't change. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of extra stuff going on throughout the week, media and things like that. A lot of people down there. Um, but you gotta try to, hold in your energy and prepare the way you have all season to play in that game and play at a high level.
Mhm. You got any big off-season plans? You going to be back spending time in Iowa, or what are you going to be doing?
Yeah, I'll be back in Iowa. I got to get back to Iowa after, being in the big city for a while. So I got to get back there and just hang out with the family a little bit for a little while.
Mhm.
Um, play a lot of golf, go on vacation hopefully. So that'll be that'll be good. But we got one more game to focus on, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. I
excited
was gonna
for it.
say I didn't know when things start up again for the next year. Like, yeah, how much time you could spend out away before you got to get back to your actual day job.
Yeah, I'm not sure to be honest either. I
Yeah,
know it'll be shorter than most teams. Which is a good thing though.
yeah. Um, I don't know if you saw this the other day. I was able to track down some old video from your track days in high school. And I kind of put together like a few minutes of video of you, in the 100 and the long jump and stuff. And it really got me thinking just about like what is Cooper DeJean's best sport? Like, because you did, I mean, obviously you were great at everything you did, but I'm like, what would you, if you were evaluating yourself, what would you be like? Obviously made to the NFL, but like when you were in high school, were you like, was football your best sport? Were you like, I still was maybe a better runner. I was maybe a better baseball player. What would you say?
I'd say growing up, my someone told me this. I think it might have been my dad and some close friends, of our family. Like they would have said that baseball was my best sport growing up. Just because I played so much baseball growing up from, whether it was travel ball, the school organization, rec league. I'd say that was probably my best sport when I was young. Um, then as I got older and into high school, it was probably football.
Hmm.
Uh, I think I mean, I don't know if I have the track type body to be running at a high level. I think my body's built more for football. A lot of those track guys aren't 6'1" and 205 pounds, sprinting um, really fast. So I think my body was made more for football, and I think that was probably my best sport, as I got older and in high school.
Yeah, but not basketball. I mean, that's another one that it's like I feel like I see a lot of different people like kind of put together some Cooper DeJean dunking sizzle reels.
Yeah, basketball was probably a close second
Hmm.
as I got older and into high school. Um, I feel like I played basketball like a football player, driving and trying to dunk on people and stuff like that. So basketball is definitely a close second, probably.
Have your teammates seen you dunk?
Yes, a lot of them have seen my highlight tape that's gone around. Seems like it shows up and then goes away for a little bit and then it'll
Uh-huh.
just pop up again. So
Like every 3 months, almost like on a cycle. I don't
um,
know. But you have in person. I don't know if you've played ball
oh
with them.
no, I haven't. I haven't dunked in person yet. I haven't got the chance to play against some of these guys. We got a lot of basket guys who claim they can hoop on our team. So it'll be interesting this offseason if we play a little bit.
Yeah, I remember that whenever I'd come and watch you in high school, I'd be like, I feel like Cooper's like just edging up towards wherever the ball is. Just you were just so eager to jump a passing lane and try
I
to get.
know. I know.
It was just
I
like
know.
it was
People,
predictable, but
people,
boy, the camera loved it.
people around that area, like they weren't used to like seeing that. So whenever I, was on the court, I was always trying to, get the ball, get out and open in the open court and throwing down because you could just as soon as I got the steal every time, you could just feel the suspense, of everybody in the crowd and which made it awesome. So.
Oh, man. Yeah, cool. Anything else in terms of this last week? These last couple weeks, we talked a little bit about this journey, but anything else that like you've really been reflecting upon, or anything else that's really come to mind as you kind of enjoy or it? whatever experience, whatever these 2 weeks have to offer?
I think I've I've thought about, just the journey. It's, and how draft night went and the end of last season and, things how it all shaped out. It seemed to work out, you know, just the right way, and which is awesome. You go from disappointment on the first night of draft night, and then really excited that I got picked by the team that I got picked by, and then I get here and be back on the football field and playing football again. Having been injured, for a while, and then you go to camp, and right before camp, I have a hamstring injury, and then I'm playing special teams for the first few weeks, and then I get my shot to start, and just learning ever since then. So it's been quite the journey this past just about a year or so. It's been I've learned a lot about myself, but it's been fun. I've just been trying to enjoy and take in every single moment that comes.
Any other revelations that you've learned about yourself? Maybe even off the field, something you've learned about yourself in this last year?
Um, yeah, I feel like as a person, I've grown a lot. Just being out here and having to grow up. I feel like I still felt like a little kid, just living out here by myself. But I feel like I've grown up as a person. Um, I'm sure you've seen me since I was a sophomore in high school. I'm sure you've seen how I've grown as a person, how I talk to the media now. Like I was completely scared of talking to you guys when I was in high school, and had that I was always so quiet, and now I've learned how to really really come out of my shell and be myself around people, and I think that's a cool thing to see.
Yeah. Yeah. We certainly marveled at that, but especially your junior year at Iowa, we were like, Cooper he's stringing together some sentences. He can have a conversation with the media now.
Yeah,
Great.
I
Well,
know.
where I'm curious where that even came from. Like, was it a lot of training at Iowa, or like are there guys even in Philadelphia that work with you in terms of just media conversations?
Yeah, I think Iowa is where I really learned how to talk to the media, because we would always bring in I forget what the it's like a company that comes in. You know Eileen, right? I don't know if okay, she works with us. She's like a PR person. She every year in camp, they always come in, and we do like mock interviews, like in front of like, so the offense will go and then the defense will go, and then all the defensive guys will come up there, get in front of the microphone. They'll ask you tough questions. They'll critique how you answer questions. And then even before we go into interviews after games and stuff, they're always there, kind of giving you a guide of how to answer certain questions, that come up. Um, and then when you get here, I think I was trained so well at Iowa that, I kind of understand, all the different questions that might come up, and how to answer certain things. So, um, yeah, at Iowa they trained us well.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know my time's about to run out. I've only got a few more seconds, but man, appreciate it. It was great catching up with you,
Yeah,
Cooper. We're really
absolutely.
rooting for you in a few weeks now, man. It's going to be awesome seeing you on that stage, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you.